It was just another quiet morning at the garage. The sun was barely up, and the scent of motor oil was already in the air. I had just finished tightening the last bolt on a pickup when I heard the unmistakable purr of an engine that didn't belong to these parts. A silver Bentley rolled up like it owned the place, smooth and proud. Out stepped a tall man in a crisp navy suit, polished shoes, and a face that looked like it hadn't smiled in years. He glanced around the garage with a frown, like the air offended him. Then he looked at me. I was wiping my hands with a rag, grease on my overalls, boots worn from years of work. His eyes narrowed. "I'm here for the mechanic," he said, loud and slow, like I didn't understand English. "I'm the mechanic," I replied, calm as ever. He blinked, once, then twice. "No," he chuckled dryly. "I meant the real mechanic, someone who knows what they're doing." My fingers froze on the rag. He didn't even try to hide it. He looked me up and down like I was dirt on his shoe. "I don't have time to play games," he added. "Can you just call the guy in charge?" I didn't say a word. I didn't need to, because right then in that quiet moment I realized something. He looked right at me, and saw nothing. Not the years of sweat and study, not the woman who built this business from the ground up, not the expert, not the owner, just nothing. And that's when I knew this wasn't going to be just another repair job. This was going to be something else entirely. People like Mr. Whitman think I ended up here because I had no other choice, that I fix engines because I couldn't make it anywhere else. They're wrong. I was raised in this garage. My grandfather, Samuel Davis, opened it in the 60s, when folks like us weren't welcome in a lot of places. But he was strong, proud, and stubborn in the best way. He taught me everything. By the time I was 10, I could tell the difference between a timing belt and a drive belt with my eyes closed. While other kids were playing house, I was handing my grandfather tools and learning to listen, really listen to the rhythm of a machine. But growing up, it wasn't always easy. Teachers told me girls shouldn't be messing with engines. Neighbors whispered that my dreams were too big, and when I got accepted into one of the top engineering schools, more than one person asked, "Did you get in on a scholarship?" As if I hadn't earned every bit of it. But I didn't waste time proving them wrong. I just kept moving. I graduated top of my class, had offers from companies across the country, but I came back home, not because I had to, because I wanted to. This garage wasn't just a business, it was legacy, family, purpose. After my grandfather passed, I took over, put my degree to work, modernized the shop, built a name for myself, not by talking, but by doing. I don't argue when people doubt me. I don't defend myself to strangers who already made up their minds. I just fix what's broken. And when I'm done, even the loudest critics go silent. That's my way. Quiet strength. No shouting, no showing off. Just results. So when Mr. Whitman looked me in the eye and dismissed me like I was nothing, I didn't get angry. I just rolled up my sleeves, because I knew exactly how this story would end. Mr. Whitman wasn't done proving how small he thought I was. When I stepped closer to his Bentley, he held up a hand like I was about to touch something sacred. "Don't. Just don't," he said, waving me off. "Please get the actual mechanic. I'm not about to let someone with a YouTube certificate ruin my car." I didn't say a word, didn't blink, didn't smile. Just reached for my gloves, walked past him, and popped the hood. He stood there with his arms crossed, that smug little smirk planted on his face like he'd already won something. "I'm serious," he said, louder this time. "You people think you know cars just because you've changed a few tires. This isn't a toy. This is a Bentley, not a beat-up truck from the scrapyard." I leaned in, scanning the engine. I could already hear the faint rattle near the intake valve. Turbo issue maybe. Nothing major if caught early. But I didn't tell him that. Not yet. He kept talking. "You know what? Fine. Go ahead. Play mechanic. But if anything happens to this car, I'm holding this dump responsible." I gently tightened one bolt, and stepped back for a moment, letting the sound of the engine guide my thoughts. He scoffed again. "Unbelievable," he muttered. "This is why I hate stopping in small towns." Still, I said nothing, because I didn't need to argue. Didn't need to prove myself with words. Let him watch. Let him think I was pretending. I'd been here before. The insults, the doubt, the arrogance, it always sounded the same. But once I was done, they never looked at me the same way again. After a few minutes under the hood, I saw the problem clear as day. A hairline crack in the intercooler pipe. Small enough to miss if you didn't know where to look. But with this model, that tiny flaw could throw off the entire turbo system. I turned to Mr. Whitman. You've got a fractured intercooler pipe. That's what's messing with your boost pressure. If it's not replaced, you'll be looking at major engine damage down the road. He raised an eyebrow. You sure? I nodded. Very. He folded his arms again. And you figured that out in 5 minutes. He chuckled, clearly still holding on to his doubt. Do you even know what an intercooler does? I tilted my head, calm and steady. I should. I helped design the layout for this engine's turbo system when I was consulting for Langford Motors last year. He went still. You. What? I worked with their engineering team. That's my layout under your hood. The silence was delicious, but I didn't savor it. I didn't need to. I wiped my hands and walked toward the office. A few seconds later, I returned with a frame. Here, I said, handing it to him. His eyes scanned the certificate. Design patent, Langford Motors Turbo 4 intercooler system. Listed right below the signature line, Danielle M. Davis. He held it like it might burn him. This is you? I smiled politely. It is. His face drained of color. Mouth opening slightly, then closing again. He looked from the paper to the car, then to me. I waited, giving him space to process. But I didn't gloat, didn't rub it in. That's not my style. I'd made my point without ever raising my voice. Because I learned a long time ago, real power doesn't need to shout. It just shows up, does the job, and lets the silence speak louder than any insult ever could. As I got to work on replacing the pipe, Mr. Whitman lingered nearby. I could feel his eyes on me, but his tone had shifted, softer now. But not humble, just curious. So, he started, hands in his pockets. What made you stick with this kind of work? You're clearly smart, could have done anything. I glanced up, then back at the engine. I like building things, fixing what's broken. He chuckled. Ha. Never understood that. I always said, if you're still working with your hands after 30, you're doing something wrong. I didn't respond, just tightened the clamp a little more. I run 4 companies, he continued, like I hadn't heard him. Real estate, tech, finance, you name it. Own homes in Miami, Chicago, Aspen. Got 3 cars like this one. Not bad for someone who didn't finish college, right? He was proud of that. I could hear it in every word. Some people just get it, he said, tapping his temple. Work smarter, not harder. But hey, he added with a grin, I guess we all play the hand we're dealt. He looked at me like I should admire him, like I should be jealous. Then he asked, you must dream of a life like mine, huh? I looked him in the eye. Not really. He blinked. What? I like the life I've built, wouldn't trade it. He tried to laugh it off, but I could see the confusion settle in. Because in his world, money was the measure. And here I was, working in a small-town garage, covered in grease, not chasing what he had. Not needing it. Not impressed. That's when I saw it. A flicker of doubt, like maybe, just maybe, he didn't know what real success looked like after all. Just as I was finishing up, tightening the last bolt and wiping down the engine cover, I heard the soft purr of an engine behind us. Smooth, powerful, refined. I didn't even have to look. I knew that sound. Mr. Whitman turned his head and nearly choked on his own admiration. Now that, he said, pointing across the street, that's a car. Whoever owns that beauty knows what real success looks like. A sleek black Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up to the curb, its paint catching the sunlight like glass. Everything about it screamed elegance and power. The driver stepped out, opened the rear door, and looked over at us. Ma'am, he called out, your car's ready. Mr. Whitman's head whipped toward me. Wait, He's talking to you. I didn't say a word, just pulled off my gloves, walked over to the front counter, and grabbed his keys. Your car's good to go, I said calmly, handing them to him. Should run smoother now. You were lucky you caught it early. He took the keys slowly, still staring across the street, then back at me like the math wasn't adding up. I wiped my hands clean, stepped past him, and headed toward the waiting Rolls, and right before I got in, I turned around. He was standing there with his mouth slightly open, eyebrows drawn together in disbelief. I smiled, just a little. Thanks for stopping by, I said. Next time, don't judge the book by its cover. Then I slid into the back seat, the door closed gently behind me. The Rolls glided away, leaving nothing but stunned silence, and a faint trail of realization. He had walked in thinking he owned the world, but he left realizing he'd just been schooled by the very person he looked down on, and I didn't need to raise my voice, flash my wealth, or prove a thing. All I had to do was be me. As the town faded behind us, and the quiet hum of the Rolls filled the space, I leaned back and closed my eyes for a moment. I wasn't thinking about the car, or the look on Mr. Whitman's face. I was thinking about how far I'd come. People like him always show up, dressed in designer suits, throwing around their money like it defines them. But money can buy cars. It can buy houses, watches, and expensive wine. But it can't buy class. It can't buy wisdom. It can't buy respect. Those things are earned. I built this life one step at a time. I remember those days so clearly, sitting on a worn-out stool beside my grandfather, watching his hands work magic under the hood of cars. I was just a little girl, covered in grease and dirt, but to me, it felt like I was learning the language of engines, the secrets of machines. While other kids were playing outside, or dreaming of princesses and superheroes, I was dreaming of spark plugs and torque wrenches. School wasn't easy either. I stayed up late, long after the house was quiet, textbooks spread out in front of me. I wanted to learn everything, the formulas, the designs, the theories, because I knew it would matter. I remember how some people laughed at me, said a girl shouldn't be doing this, said it was a man's job. Sometimes, their words stung deep, but I kept going. Hearing no, over and over again became part of my routine. No, you can't do this. No, you don't belong here. No, you won't make it. But every no only made the few yes moments feel that much sweeter. I learned to be patient, to keep trying, to believe in myself when no one else did. I never needed applause. I never looked for a crowd or a spotlight. I wasn't doing this to be noticed. I did it because I loved it. Because every day I showed up, I gave everything I had, my heart, my sweat, my soul. Success didn't come fast or loud. It didn't crash through doors or shout from rooftops. It grew quietly, in the small moments no one saw, the extra hours in the garage, the mistakes I learned from, the stubbornness to keep moving forward. And that's what people like Mr. Whitman don't get. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. Not with words, not with loud gestures, not with flashy things. All you have to do is know it deep inside yourself. Let them underestimate you. Let them laugh, doubt, or turn away, because when your moment comes, when your truth is ready to be told, it will speak louder than any words ever could. And that's when they'll realize they weren't looking at someone beneath them, they were looking up, and just didn't know it yet. Some people measure success by the brand on your clothes, others, by the grease under your nails. But real worth, it's deeper than that. It's in your heart. Your grit. Your quiet strength when no one's watching. So keep showing up. Keep being you, even when the world underestimates you. Especially then. If this story made you smile, or think twice, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs a reminder. Never judge someone by how they look, you just might miss their greatness, and a powerful story worth knowing.